Well, hello, everybody. My name is Seth, and I am an alcoholic. Still, thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Sober City. Excited to introduce you to my amazing friend, Jarrett, with a T. Jarrett is coming up on 9 months of sobriety, but before that, he had a good run at it and then decided that maybe it was worth a shot to try drinking again. That did not turn out as he thought it would, as you'll find out. But was excited to have Jarrett as a guest. He's an incredible dude, an amazing friend, and a just awesome person to be around. What's cool about this episode, in kind of a weird way, is Jarrett is actually in court currently, or by the time you listen to this episode, anyways. When we recorded it, it was a few days before, but when I put it out, he will likely be before the judge, facing the consequences of his actions that had occurred during his hiatus from sobriety. And earlier in the week, when I had asked him to be on the pod, the reason why was because he was talking about his upcoming trial, and he just had a sense of peace about it and levity. He had shown no anxiety or concern about how it will end up, and ultimately felt like whatever happens, happens. He's doing what he can do now and focusing on what he can control. And it was just really inspiring and encouraging to see, and I'm super proud of him. And I hope court goes well for him. So pretty excited to get to introduce you to him and share his story and his inspiration. As always, appreciate you listening and sharing and your encouragement. I hope you all are having an amazing week. And I'm grateful for every one of you, even the folks I have yet to meet. So anyways, with all that said, life is beautiful. Sobriety is worth it. Thank God for today. This is Sober City. Well, Jarrett, welcome to Sober City, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Glad to be here.
Oh, good to have you. Good to see you. So, Jarrett, how long have you been sober?
We're going to be coming up on 9 months on the 2nd. So don't like to, take our extra time. So 200 and some odd days.
That's right.
8 months and some.
Yeah, not 9 months yet.
Not yet.
But we'll happy 8 months and some change.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So, Jarrett, tell me a little bit about what you were like before you got sober.
Oh, man. Pre-sobriety. Well, there's a lot, instead of the drunkalog, I like to go into, what it was like inside, because that seems to be more of, can build a bigger picture. So I didn't know my entire life that I was wearing a mask. I was, it's not necessarily the don't fit in. I just thought everybody felt that way. I thought everyone felt uncomfortable in their own skin, and everyone was just kind of walking around faking it. And my experience was, first time I got drunk, and I don't want to say the first time I drank, because I've, had some sips here and there, hated the taste of beer, hated the taste of all that stuff. But the first time I actually caught a buzz, I got drunk. It was like the whole world changed. The clouds opened up, sun shined in. I didn't realize that I was uncomfortable. I was about 12 years old. I didn't realize that I was so uncomfortable until I actually felt comfortable. And that's what booze did for me. It just opened up life to me, because before that, even at a young age, not knowing how bad I felt. I didn't know I felt bad until I realized that I could feel as good as I did drinking. And since then, I had the solution. I had the answer of how I can finally feel good. I can finally have a drive to live, have just experience life happy. And I didn't know I was unhappy until that point. So then in between bouts of drinking, I was always looking forward to the next time I could. And open up, I s- I could speak to people well with a mask on, but when I was drunk, I didn't have to wear that mask and speak to people. So I fit in with kids I didn't think that I would fit in with at school. I just was finally comfortable, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, that's what it was like before getting sober. And then so that was just my goal in life, was to always get to that experience. There was nothing that was going to take that from me. There was no legal system could find me a solution. There had been plenty of legal interventions. The amounts of embarrassment that I would cause in life, things of that sort.
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question. It's
Yeah.
kind of a lot to think about. But yeah, so you got the first time you got drunk was at 12 years old?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And man, that experience, I remember it to this day. I just remember the feeling, um, just feeling good. And like
Yeah.
I said, I just didn't know that I felt bad before that. I didn't know that life seemed mundane up until that point. And then in between drinking, it felt mundane. So I learned from a young age, early on, how to wear that mask, because I think I was probably wearing it my entire life. So yeah, that's kind of what it came to. I mean, if you want to go into a detailed history of my past, I've been to prison several times. I've been to jail. I've got a mountain of DUIs. I've got drug charges. All these things. Until one point, and I was about, I want to say, 30 years old. I was in prison, and I had an opportunity to get into a sober house, and it was part of my parole that I go into that I get parole to go into that sober house. That sober house had some stringent guidelines. It was, get a sponsor, go to 6 12-step related meetings a week, work those steps with that sponsor in order for me to phase up in that house. And I kind of just, when I initially went in there, I just went in with the mindset that I was just going to play this game until I can once again get back to what my solution was. In working that 12-step program, I realized several months down the line that I was actually comfortable in my own skin being sober. For the first time in my life without drinking or using, I was finally comfortable. I finally felt okay being myself. I woke up not looking towards the next time I was going to be able to drink or use again. That feeling, that sense of peace, serenity, as we know it, really, really did happen. Um, and so, yeah, that's what I didn't think was possible in my life, was for me to reach that point. Um, my one solution of drinking and using was all I knew to feel okay. So so yeah, I kind of got my life together. Man, I had this picture of my life where, um, white picket fence, happy family, all this kind of stuff. And that's the picture of my life, and where my life actually was, as a direct result of using and drinking, was two completely different places. That helped to add to that feeling of being uncomfortable in my own skin. Um, but as I was working this program, I started to close that gap, and I really did. I had put everything together, so to speak, or was on the path of doing so. And when when that had happened, um, I got the heat off my back. Everything just was right, right, and so at that point, I felt like I could let the brakes off. And now that my life had finally come back together, I was able to, maybe drink responsibly, maybe be able to take control of things, since since now I'm in a position of not having to worry about the legal system or, how I was hurting my family or anything like that because I hadn't been for so long. And being sober in that time in the program that I'm in, there's a big warning signs of that, of when that happens. And of course, me having, I'm a subject of alcoholism. And me having that disease it's largely mental. Um, the symptoms of it are are the substance, right? But that mental state that there's I go to insanity if I'm not addressing my issues, I revert back to insanity. Now, in my mind, a truly insane person does not, first of all, recognize that they are insane. And because of that, a lot of people, when they hear the word insanity, they think someone, padded rooms, causing mayhem, going crazy, right? My insanity is subtle. It creeps in. It tells me I could continue to do these same things I did in the past and that I'll be okay. No matter how many times I've attempted these situations and expected different results, I always end up in a situation I don't want to be in again. And that's the disease. That's the depths of it. Is it'll slowly take over, and if I'm not addressing it, so what I had done is I had stepped away from my program because I was making room for my solution again, right? Not recognize, and it wasn't a point of, hey, I'm uncomfortable in my skin now. It's just, hey, maybe I don't have this problem. Maybe I don't have these issues that I think I have, or that I've been telling myself that I have. That's that insanity creeping in. And so I went back to drinking. It didn't take long for me to start using again, and just filling this void that I had previously got to with a solution of 12-step programming. So yeah, after about 2 or 3 years of going back, I had created the situations in my life that I didn't want to be in again. But like I said before, it wasn't the it wasn't the legal system that brought me back to this program. It wasn't the chaos that I had been creating that brought me back to this program. It was one day I finally woke up and I was in deep emotional despair. And I had recognized, I used to do a lot of reminiscing of partying and drinking, and that's what I would revert to in my mind as reminiscing to what I can do to feel okay. And I woke up in this situation and I started reminiscing on where I was feeling okay in the past before, which was when I was deeply in my 12-step program. The people that I was with, the relationships that I had created, the peace that I would wake up with. And that's what really brought me back. So that's kind of a short and sweet of what it was like before, what happened, and what got me here now. Yeah.
Right. No, and that's a good kind of synopsis. Quick view of the last 36,
37.
37 years of your life, starting at age 12. Kind of when you realize that you're wearing a mask, because when you drink, you could take your mask off, right? And then afterwards, everything was, when can I drink again? When can I feel like that again? And you had, gotten sober initially at 30.
Yep.
And then how long sobriety did you have?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half
Yep.
sobriety. And then you started romanticizing what drinking looked like.
Well,
Right.
not necessarily romanticizing. I started creating this situation that maybe I didn't have a drinking problem in the first place. Maybe I just had a drinking and driving problem, or maybe I just had all these other problems that were directly related to drinking. But I would try to, that insane mind of mine would try to create situations out of them to where I could justify drinking again.
Yeah, you were negotiating with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, you at that point had how many DUIs were you at?
5.
Yeah, you had five
Yeah.
DUIs. Yeah, but the alcohol is not the issue. It's just that.
It's just that, it's the law that's the issue, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, and that's the insanity, like you said. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like what people might think when you say I'm insane,
Right.
but that is insane, right?
It's
The idea
absolutely
that
crazy. Yeah.
you convince yourself alcohol is not my problem. It's just I'm not good at driving, or it's just the fact that the
I'm
law
just
will.
unlucky.
Yeah, I'm just unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, ultimately, the end goal is something in us just wants us to go back to that,
Yeah.
right? And so we have to be mindful and diligent as far as where our thoughts go, because it doesn't look like you think it would,
Right.
when it starts to get a hold of you.
Right, and especially in our own minds, it doesn't look like to us, we want it to be something different. Well, at least I'm not homeless and drinking still. At least I'm not waking up with the shakes every morning or something like that. That's one thing that I would always justify within myself, just because I'm not waking up with DTs, and because when I wake up that way, I choose to sleep all day. But I would make that choice so that I could justify drinking again. I would put these parameters on drinking that eventually I would end up breaking anyways. If I continued drinking, I'm sure I would wake up with DTs pretty often. When I went back out this last time, it was as if I never quit. So so what that means is I'd pick up drinking as if I had still been drinking every day, and I don't have that tolerance anymore. So there's a lot more blackouts. There's a lot more waking up going, what did I do last night? And that's, man, if you think about drinking, I don't know if you had the same effect of, man, it's like feeding a bipolar, right? I drink and I get extremely happy. I get extremely okay, right? Um, which may only last for a little bit. But that extreme emotion comes with that crash the next day, right? That grave hangover. All these things that I'm not comfortable with myself. Most people wouldn't be comfortable with themselves, being in legal issues and causing family problems, not being the father that I can picture myself as being because I put drugs and alcohol first. As soon as I start drinking, I start to justify where I'm at. I start to feel okay with myself and really just start creating more situations that I'm extremely regretful of the next day. That's that grave emotional hangover. And that's why I said that bipolar, because I would start to feel okay, right? And then I would start to feel happy. And then that next day, that extreme happy that I had the night before was just met with an extreme depression, you know? Um, yeah. And you know what? My solution to that extreme depression is maybe I'll sleep on it for a little bit. I'm not drinking as soon as I wake up, but usually later on that afternoon or that evening, I'm drinking again. And a lot of times, if I'm drinking, I'm going to go seek something else to keep that going. Um, Methamphetamine, cocaine, anything to just keep that going. And then before you know it, I'm back in places that my sober self is not comfortable with. My true self is not comfortable with. So yeah.
Yeah, it's insane for sure. Yeah, because alcohol is a depressant,
Mhm.
and so you don't want to fall asleep if you're feeling good.
Right.
So then you need something to stay awake,
Right.
keep it going, like you said. Yeah. And
And
ultimately, what that leads to, yeah, like you said, is you end up in some dark spots that
mhm.
you otherwise couldn't imagine.
Right.
You're always finding yourself getting to that point where you promised yourself you would never get like
Right.
that.
Well, and I want to bring up how, yeah, yes, alcohol is a depressant, but for 90% of us, there's those like me, man, once I start drinking, I'm up. I'm ready to go. I want to go do stuff. I want to get in my car, drive and go places and feel free and find a party and meet all these people. sing karaoke belligerent and wake up the next day. I remember to this day, I still reminisce on singing karaoke terribly and just how embarrassed I am by it, right? Like,
Yeah.
just weird situations that booze would lead me to.
Yeah, it gives you that confidence that you otherwise wouldn't have, and
Right.
that's what we like about it. Is we're just by nature not very confident
Right.
alcoholics and addicts. I think we have very insecure people. But man, when we can get a substance in us that gives us that courage and
Mhm.
that confidence where we feel like we're everybody else, that feels good for
Well,
sure.
and then there's this sweet spot in that confidence, right? I had a goal this last time that I was out drinking, that and when I say last time out, I just mean this period in between sobriety. That's what I mean when I say this last time out. So I had a goal that if I could just be in that sweet spot, which is somewhere between 6 and infinite drinks, right? But it's somewhere in there. If I could just be right there and manage life that way, then life would be perfectly okay. The problem with that sweet spot is it's always one more drink away. Always one more drink away. I know it's right there. I know it's close. One more drink. And then once I get that one in me, one more drink. And then before you know it, I kind of glorified this happiness, but I also with that extreme happiness, I feel extreme emotions in any range. If I start to get into any mood, I extremely justify who I am and what I'm doing, and in a bad way. I can try to ignore that fact, but what this justification is man, it can come with anger, it can come with resentment, it can come with mostly fear based, right? But this fear that I don't feel anymore, but it's mental fear. I don't feel the fear. That's kind of what the booze masks, right? Masks that fear, but deep down, it's gets me to scary situations. So I ended up getting a sixth DUI. I ended up getting that last year. This is about a week before I got sober. Finally, got sober, right? And that's crazy too to think, right? Yeah, you get a sixth DUI. I go into jail, and then I still get out and drink again, right? Well, I wanted to talk about how being in jail, I'd never felt more suicidal than at that point in my life. I told as I got myself in this situation again, and if I could have had a way, um, I had never contemplated it so deeply than in that moment. So a couple days in jail, I get out of jail, and that's gone. That's that insanity, right? That's the situation that had led me to that drinking. The That's gone. I'm going to drink again. That's the insanity of what my disease, and that's what I'm up against. And that is a big reason of why I am really dedicated daily to my sobriety. I keep in constant contact with my sponsor, individuals in sobriety, and going to meetings, meeting new guys, trying to be a part of, just doing more of the things that my first time around in sobriety that I kind of avoided doing, which was, more of the meeting the new guys. As soon as I had decided that I was going to try again, my first time around in sobriety, I kind of started stepping away. I was going to less meetings. And that decision isn't like, it's not set in stone, right? That wasn't set in stone when I had made that decision early on. It creeps in every once in a while, and I'll go to a meeting and I'll feel good at a meeting, right? But then I'll start making more space for that, where I start, maybe I'll just smoke some weed, right? And that's never enough. It always leads back to drinking. So,
Or other things.
or other things. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hopefully
Absolutely.
just drinking. But yeah, it's tough, man. But yeah, if you can get something that gets you what you're looking for in a healthy way, the way that we're intended to deal
Mhm.
with things, then that's the trick. Unfortunately, it's not a one and done thing. Like you said,
Mhm.
it's a daily maintenance.
Yep.
It's a
It's a freedom that you experience contingent upon daily maintenance. And you really can't, I think you said early on that you kind of let your foot off the gas.
Mhm.
You kind of felt like you figured it out. You're getting what you were wanting, which was you didn't have any warrants. You had a
Then
job,
yeah,
you
yeah,
had a savings, a house,
yeah,
a car,
business,
maybe a
started my own
relationship.
business, all these
Yeah,
things,
a business. Yeah,
Yeah, got back together with my son's mom.
yeah.
Bad idea, but
Well,
in my mind, I pictured now that I get this stuff together, we can make that work as well.
oh yeah,
Then didn't work out that way. This daily reprieve that we have that is contingent upon our dedication or my dedication to this program is the same. I see why that's necessary, because that daily my disease is constantly trying to take up that space. It, always trying to take up that space. And the only way that I get it to stay on top of that is by my commitment to my program.
yeah. And thinking of others, like you
Thinking of
said,
others. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I think probably one of the most dangerous things for us is isolating. I think that's the
Yeah.
first indication that something's wrong when we start isolating.
And that's what I want to do. That's like just my natural revert. I just want to, my mind just, I don't want other people to worry about me. Right.
Yeah, but we do a
But
little.
you're right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. It's all,
yeah,
it's all part of this insanity. Right. I don't want other people to worry about me, but I want to be the center of the world.
yeah. I want people talking about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I want people to leave me alone. But I don't want to be alone. Yeah. It's,
Yeah, nobody's calling me, but then when they do, I ignore it.
yeah. Yeah. Right.
Nobody's- Yeah, it's,
Yeah, exactly.
that's it. Yeah, we're just never satisfied. Just like you said, we
Mhm.
try to find that sweet spot with drinking or anything,
Mhm.
and it's always almost there. Just one more.
Yep.
Man, it's tough. Yeah, somewhere between 6 and infinity.
Yeah.
But definitely at least 6.
At least 6. Yeah, yeah. Bare minimum for
That's
sure.
it. Yeah, that's where we're starting,
Mm.
and then work our way up from there. And sheesh, it's great. And before you know it, yeah, your bottle's empty, or
Yeah.
you're out of beer, and then it's like, oh well, oh man, that's tough. But yeah, you said this last time out, yeah, you started getting some of these gifts of sobriety, and then the only thing missing was, in a way, the ability to drink like a gentleman,
Yeah.
or at least maybe I'm doing all these other things really well. I bet you I could drink well also.
I bet you I can drink without getting in trouble
Yeah.
anymore. So
Yeah.
and that's what my mind has said. Now that I'm out of trouble, not just legally, but I'm out of trouble with my peers, my family. I People think well of me. Now I can stay out of trouble. Now I can drink and stay out of trouble.
People are starting to trust you.
So yeah, why not? Why not give it a shot? I knew why not. I know why not, but knowing isn't enough. As far as I go, unfortunately or fortunately, I guess depends on how you look at it. I I must experience it myself I must put myself through it. And I don't know if that's a level of immaturity that I just haven't reached or didn't reach for a long time. I feel myself growing mentally, maturing mentally, but only because I don't know. Is it because I'm getting old? I don't I don't know, man. I don't know what got me to that point finally where I'm just tired. I just got tired. I feel like yeah, I'm too old for this. But I was too old for this 10, 15 years ago. I was too old for this. I was too old for this before I was old enough to drink. Legally, I should say.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's confusing. It doesn't make sense. I think it's just ego. I think
Yeah.
we have to get sober on our own terms. That's the only way we'll accept it. If somebody else is telling us we have to be sober, it's not ours.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's
Right.
the case for me. It's like, it's got to be mine. This is when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And you got out of jail after being suicidal, feeling
Mhm.
suicidal in there, and then got out and went back to drinking. But what was it that kind of got you where you needed to be after that? You know what I mean? Like,
So I went back to drinking because I started thinking about
Yeah.
going back to my program.
Right.
Then I had this fear of thinking about never drinking again. And I had never had more anxiety in my entire life, in my entire drinking career. The anxiety of feeling like I was never going to drink again, just thinking about never drinking again, scared scared the shit out of me. It was crazy. And so you know what I did over it is I drank over it. I went to a meeting. I thought now the gates of heaven are going to open up. I'm going to go to this meeting. That didn't do it for me. So I drank, and then I went to another meeting. And then I left that meeting and drank until I blacked out, and that was that next day that I woke up, and I had to recognize, that, where did I get that peace at? Well, it was after putting in work in this 12-step program. It wasn't walking in the doors the first day that I found this serenity, I found this peace within being sober in my life. I had to put in work, so I had started from square one. I re-enrolled in that same sober house that I got sober in before, and just got a sponsor, started working these steps, and really, without, I guess it was a lot of knowing that over time, maybe I'll get there again. I don't know that I'll ever be able to feel that way again, but I know what I had to do to get to that point, and that was work this program. I can gratefully say today, I feel as I did then, and I'm able to recognize that as I did when I was sober before, and I'm able to recognize that and not take it for granted. So that that goal having been reached of what I first got here again, I find this peace in knowing that I get to be here again. I get to do this every day, and I don't have to tear it all down as if I did before. And I enjoy having just a right answer, not necessarily a right answer for when people come to me with problems or situations at work and life in general, situations that used to baffle us, right? I wanted to say this without being cliche, but it's true. And it's weird because when I had gotten sober before, I recognized that I had that solution. I had the just calm, right answers to things. And then when I had gone back out, that was all gone. I was just perplexed by life, perplexed by situations, just ego driven.
Yeah, it's really remarkable when you look back at before getting sober and you really try to think, you know what I mean? You try to get the same thoughts. What was my thought process then?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes I talking to somebody and they said, "Oh, this is what you said to me," or something, right?
Mhm.
Whatever. Generally with my wife, we talk about these big fights we used to have. And I remember being so passionate and feeling so certain and right about what I was arguing at that moment. And now looking back, I honestly could not tell you what I was talking about or why I felt that way.
Right.
And it is baffling. I mean, it is. I don't think it's cliche, dude. It's like the things that used to baffle us now it just doesn't.
Right.
And I remember when I first got sober, there's this other guy that I'd call once in a while when I was all bent out of shape, and I would ask him questions about my situation, and he'd have a response. And I remember saying to him, "You're super smart. Like, how do you know this stuff?"
Yeah.
Like, I was blown away because it made
Right.
sense. The way he explained it to me made so much sense. And I'm like, how do you just pull that out?
Mhm.
This is just an electrical engineer or some kind of, you know what I mean? He's not trained in this by any means.
Mhm.
He just understands this. And I remember him saying like, "Oh, you'll get it one day. You'll have
Right.
it." It's
Right.
like, I don't think so. I
Right.
don't think
Right.
I'll get it one day, man. But yeah, eventually you all of a sudden, and then people call you and it's hard not to get frustrated.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I have to remember is I used to be like that.
Yeah.
And it's really important for me to have grace and patience when somebody calls me with a little insanity
Mhm.
and to not just want to slap them and say,
Oh man.
"You're not making sense.
Right. Yeah.
You're insane." I actively have to be mindful of that, and prayer helps
Mhm.
tremendously
Absolutely.
because it really helps me to remember that that was me. And thank God nobody slapped me in the
Right.
beginning. I was definitely deserving of it, but No, everybody put on kid's gloves and kind of walked me through being what it meant to be an adult.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely right. The things that used to baffle us, now we have clarity on it.
And you touched on it a little bit. You can look back and go, I don't even see what my thought process was, right?
Right.
Then. And it's weird so what my situation was before being here was being there and knowing that my thought process can be something completely different. So this is what I knew by being sober before, that my thought process can be something that I want it to be. I don't know how. I don't even know what that looks like, right? I don't know what that thought process looks like. I just know that it's different and it's peaceful. It's
Oh, yeah.
peaceful and it's comfortable, but it's like two completely different people. And when I had first started drinking again, going back into that old way of thinking, I didn't recognize it. Everyone around me recognized it. The people closest to me recognized it. Hey, maybe you should go back to this program, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you should go back to doing what you were doing before. And I didn't even recognize that I was changing. So, and that's that slow change. I guess it probably happens fairly quickly in the grand scheme of things, but it's slow enough to where it's unrecognizable within the individual, right? Within my person. I don't recognize that my mindset is changing. And like being at the point where I'm at today, I don't really recognize this process but I know that I'm completely different than what I was when I came back in here. I know that I can be at a point in life where I can look at not drinking ever again and not be in this sheer anxiety, just sheer fear of never being able to drink again. And that's crazy, right? That's crazy for me to think it's crazy really for anybody to think, to have fear of not drinking, right? That's really the scary part when you look at this big picture, is someone that has this deep fear of never drinking again, right? And that I was that individual, right? Now I can look at it gratefully, right? I can look at it, but I don't take that for granted. I know what it's contingent of. It's contingent of me being here, being present, because will slowly creep in where I don't recognize it when it creeps in. And before you know it, I'm worse off than I was ever, It doesn't have to be that way, because right now, I don't by any means feel like I've got it all together or all figured out, right? But I know that I'm on a path that's better than being in fear of never drinking again. I know that things are coming together, and I don't know if this is normal for most anybody, but upon giving my thoughts and my mind and my will over to my higher power, right? And I pray every morning. I think upon doing that, where in the past problems would always seep in, right? If I solve one thing, here comes another. If I solve one thing, here comes another. Now I recognize those coming in, but I definitely have something to give it to. And before an active use, it's almost as if I welcomed these problems so that I had something else to drink or use for, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we like that victim mentality.
Oh, dude.
And we're always quick to point out all the bad things that are happening.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do a good job here. I'm trying to stay sober, but
Yep.
life just keeps handing me lemons.
Right.
And you know what? I gave it my best. Sorry,
Yep.
everybody. And yeah, we loved it. It's pathetic. I just
Mhm.
like that victim mentality. And it's all these small things, really. It's like we say, what is it? Manufactured misery.
Yeah.
If we really break it down, we're doing pretty well. Everybody
Yeah.
has bad days. Everybody has a series of maybe bad things that happen to us. But if we look at if we try to see the forest through the trees,
Mhm.
oh man, life's good, and
Right.
We're doing well, and we've got a lot to be thankful for. I mean,
First world problems,
yeah, first world problems for
Right.
sure. Oh yeah, and so man, you got almost 9 months now.
Mhm.
But one thing, kind of what I mentioned to you, the reason why I kind of wanted to talk to you this week was you have court on Friday.
I do. Yeah. I have court once again.
Yeah, a little bit of your past mistakes are
Yeah.
coming due, and How are you feeling about court?
This is whatever's supposed to happen will happen. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. This is instead of being the victim of my own problems, I feel, and in the grand scheme of things, Seth, I have had felonies in the past. I have had big court issues in my past. We could fill a whole other couple podcasts with my past issues. So that's why I wanted to really address where the law isn't enough to keep me sober, the legal system. Unfortunately, I wish it was DUI one and done, right? But I've looked at several years in the past. I was looking at life in federal prison at one point.
Life in federal prison?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. You're looking at life?
Yeah, I was looking at life for conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin at one point. Long story short, I had a lawyer, a public defender, who had a little faith in me. In reality, I was around people that I shouldn't have, right? Shouldn't have been. People that were doing a lot more than what I had intended to be doing. And because of that, I was tried on being involved with a lot more than I was involved in. Really, I was just trying to keep my high going.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy that you'd be looking at life for
Yeah.
conspiracy, right? Because
320 to lives for each one.
yeah, and conspiracy is just your name just came up, right?
Well, I know the deep details of how this works because we did take it to trial.
Right.
So conspiracy, not just your name comes up. They have to. So what happens is there's a whole net of people that get arrested, right?
Yeah, and they all say your name.
Right, but their stories have to corroborate with each other's story.
Well, I get that. They can't just, I mean, there has
Yeah.
to be more than just everybody knows you.
Right, and
There's like, oh, Jarrett keeps showing up in these different stories.
And that's exactly what
But I mean,
happened,
still,
right?
though, it just kind of bog. I'm sure there's more to it, but the idea of
Mhm.
conspiracy is just like, hey, we've got 5 people and all 5 of them have hung out with you
Yeah.
on this night.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I mean?
that's why I was charged. Yeah.
Right.
In the long run, they have to be able to prove that you were distributing, which was not proved on trial. If I had lost that trial, the judges generally tend to see that as you not facing up to, because you had the opportunity to plead guilty. Well,
Of
now you
course,
wasted
yeah.
the money taking this to
Yeah,
trial,
it's
and so
always-
that
yep.
they definitely go to that longer end of the 20 to life end.
Yeah.
But what's funny about that is my lawyer at that time was in a 12-step program, still is, and his paralegal as well. They're the ones who then got me through that trial. And then
When was this?
this was 2018.
Okay.
2018. And they had a lot of faith in me. They've seen something in me that I did not. And they're the ones that knew the individual who was one of the 2 individuals who had put this sober house together.
Yeah, I got you in there the first time,
Yeah.
which it did kind of stick the first time.
Yeah.
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 And I think, you were kind of getting, I think that's a common mistake we make is we do get a little sobriety. We don't
Mhm.
even really experience it fully,
Right.
but we get enough of it to figure out that I don't think it was actually alcohol that was my problem. I think I was just in a different place in life. And
Well, and that's another thing is that having those other issues, outside issues besides alcohol that I was using. Yeah.
you have to be rigorously honest. You have to be 110% honest about
Right.
what's going on. Because you've always known.
Oh yeah.
I think even the first time you drank at 12 years old, you probably were like, this isn't normal how much I like this. Like,
Well, to be
Right.
honest, so I grew up, my little brother had passed away when I was 7. He was 1.5 years old, right? And
oof, yeah.
couple years after that, my parents split. And my mom was drinking very heavily all the time, and I hated alcohol. I hated seeing,
Of course, yeah. Same with me. Yeah, I'll never drink. When I have
and
kids, I'm not drinking, dude.
right, right. And then when I tried that out, what I'd done is I snuck a couple beers. I snuck 3 beers over the period of like a week, right? So I had these warm beers, and I knew that well, if I want this to do whatever it's supposed to do, I need to drink them fast, right? And then when I hit that point of buzz where it all made sense to me. Now I know why my mom does this. I know why everybody does this. This
Absolutely.
is it. Yeah.
The freedom. Yeah, and then that's all downhill from there.
Right.
Yeah, then we've given ourselves over to this thing that we've found, and really too, when we're children of alcoholics, we're really not given great tools, right?
Right.
Most part, the only tool we're given is escape.
Right.
If things get overwhelming, you just find a way to disappear or find a way to escape, or just if you're going to have to address it in a very aggressive, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right. Well, if you look at it kind of like as a way to somewhat feed that insanity, right? Like that's where it starts, right? I start to contradict what I see and what I think, right? Like I hate what it looks like. I hate what it does to those around me. I hate alcohol. I hate it. And then I drink it. And then I start to contradict that hate, right? I know that it does all this stuff. But then I start to justify it itself.
it gets its claws in us, and
Mhm.
we make excuses for it all of a sudden. But yeah, anyways, with court coming up here, I think you had said that you've been through it before.
Mhm.
It's not your first time standing before a judge, but this time your attitude is whatever happens, happens.
Mhm.
And you kind of have a peace with
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
you're not in control over what happens.
Right. The best way to explain it is how I had addressed it in the past, and generally with fear or with anger at the system, right? Blaming everything else, everyone else, blaming my luck, all those things. Whereas in this program, I don't have to feel that way, right? I can easily get scared. I can easily, worry, but I'm not going to feed that beast anymore. And I know that doesn't just happen out of nowhere. I think that the reason I feel that way is because of that mindset change that we talked about a little bit ago. How somewhere in there, things that used to baffle us, right? This would be a baffling situation, right? And I would make it a baffling situation. I would make it something that
Would cause chaos. And,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I think the fear and anger, resentment, self-pity, all those things are selfish emotions.
Yeah.
They're inward focused. So when you start to feel that, you see that it keeps you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that is to be of service.
Mhm.
But when we're fearful or angry or controlling, we're limited as to what keeps us sober,
Right.
which is thinking of others. So, yeah. And so that's good that you see those emotions as hindrances to your ability to stay sober. And regardless of this pending court trial, you're able to see it as, I'm not going to let it interfere with what I need to do.
Right.
Regardless of the magnitude of it. What are you looking at? What charges do you?
So what initially happened here is I had possession of a controlled substance. I had ingestion of a controlled substance, and I had skipped court on that. So I was also charged with a felony, failure to appear, because I'm going to put this all on God, man, because I had gotten a lawyer, and in this situation, those possession charges had fallen off. Now, I'm not saying that would have happened. I don't believe that would have happened if I wasn't doing what I'm doing today, which is working a program and just being very committed to that program. These are things that my lawyer was able to make happen because I wasn't reacting on fear, if that makes sense. This situation is far greater than anything I could have asked for, and I wasn't coming in asking for as if I had deserved this or blah blah blah. Right? I was expecting all this to be what it was, and maybe even have to sit a couple years in prison again. So things come together. I can't explain why or how, but those heavier of the charges have been dropped, and I am looking at that failure to appear. Generally, I'm looking at probationary sentence, which outside of sobriety, probation is terrible. I'd once, after my second DUI, when I was 20 years old, I chose to sit 30 days in jail rather than be on a year of probation because then I could drink, right? If I was on probation, I wouldn't have been able to drink. So now probation to me, no big deal. Probation is probation as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just meet with a guy once a month and there's nothing to worry about. So,
Right. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
yeah.
If you're not, then yeah, it's miserable.
Right.
Having to answer to somebody.
Right. Right.
And we're very controlling. Also, we don't like not being able to have freedom in a weird way. I mean, we're not free at all, but if somebody's monitoring us or holding us accountable to some degree, it's not good. And we're just typically dishonest. So one more person we have to try to lie to all the time. Yeah, but now it's like, I don't have any problem.
Yeah.
You want me to blow or test or whatever? I'll meet with you. I'll keep my job. I'll show up early, all those things.
All those things, yeah.
Do what I'm supposed to do. So the ingestion and possession charges were dropped.
Yep.
Were those felonies also?
Yes. Those were looking at 5 years apiece.
Yeah, per charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's just and why did you intentionally miss court?
Yeah, I knew court was I just didn't care, and I was deep in drinking and using again. 3.5 years ago, I fell off a roof that is directly related to my drug use. And I was going through a lot of hospital stuff at the time. I just didn't go to court.
Yep,
I just didn't care enough.
So you did intentionally miss it. It wasn't like
I knew it was there.
Okay, and you just said screw it.
Yeah,
they can come get me.
Yeah, or maybe somehow I could run from this. Delusional mindset, man.
And also escaping, avoidant behavior. Yeah. Just delayed accountability. But well, shoot, man. I appreciate you coming on here and talking to me. And
my pleasure.
Be thinking and praying for you for Friday, dude.
Thanks, man.
But the biggest thing I think that I like about you is, you just get it. You're very intelligent when it comes to sobriety and what you have to do to be sober, and your perspective on your pending court trial. You're not even faking it. I can tell you're not faking not being like you
right.
just don't. You're not worried about it, and you'll face it. And I think that's important because, man, alcoholics and addicts are just so fearful all the time.
Yeah.
And we really don't like uncertainty. This impending trial, I don't like that. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And you could really get wrapped up in that for sure. That's some good drinking fuel.
Absolutely.
And fuel right
Absolutely.
There, that uncertainty. And it all boils down to control and faith. Just that's why it's important to have that higher power, because as long as you're doing what you should be doing, it'll work out.
Yeah.
Despite obviously this trial is a result of what you did, right?
Right.
But it can still be used as part of your story. And if you have to serve time, whatever happens, you'll be the best prisoner you can be.
That's right, man. I'm, wherever you put me.
Yeah. And I'll show up and I'll be present there and grateful that you'll be sober. Yeah, man, that's beautiful. And I'm grateful for you. Well,
yeah, I know I've created a lot of history here so The way I look at it is I've got a lot of fuel for the new guy, right?
That's it. Oh yeah.
Dude, I
Right.
got, there's very few that have been able to give me a situation where, oh, well, you know, I've never lived that. And I haven't been able to say that yet. I've been
That's
there,
right.
done that, man.
That's
So
it. Yeah, your experiences are being utilized in a positive way.
trying to,
Yeah, instead of being ashamed and having guilt,
right.
you're using it to make a difference and be positive. So that's beautiful, buddy. I appreciate you
Yeah.
and I love you, man.
Love you too, brother.